He's not?
No.
But you said they didn't say anything.
They didn't.
Then how do you know it's a he?
I don't.
But you just said, he's not my friend.
3 minutes ago, the world froze as Carol Burnett appeared across live broadcasts without warning. No news networks announced her. No entertainment channels teased anything. She simply appeared, seated alone in a dim room, her face lit by a single trembling lamp, her expression carrying a weight people had never seen from her before. The familiar warmth of her presence was gone, replaced by something urgent, frightened, and deeply human. She took a breath that shuddered like she had been carrying it for hours. Her voice cracked as she apologized, not for interrupting programming, but because what she was about to reveal would distress people. She said she hoped the truth would matter more than her fear. Viewers across the world leaned closer, some sensing immediately that this was not a publicity stunt or a scripted message. Something real was happening. She began by explaining that she had recently been invited to revisit the old CBS grounds where the Carol Burnett show had been filmed. The network had been working on a restoration of their archives and wanted her to consult. She agreed with excitement at first, thinking she would reconnect with memories. But she never expected what they would find beneath Stage 33, the place she had spent some of the most defining years of her life. Workers had uncovered a sealed hatch under the flooring, covered by concrete that seemed intentionally placed to hide it. It wasn't on any studio map. No one alive recalled it ever being built. Engineers used industrial cutters to break through. Below was a narrow passage leading to a hidden vault, lined with metal shelves and cold air that felt untouched since the 1960s. The vault contained no props, no scripts, no reels from old shows. Instead, everything was marked with classification codes and strange labels. She hesitated, visibly shaken, before telling the world what she found inside. There were tape reels with dates from across her career, and some from before she ever appeared on television. Documents referenced psychological influence experiments conducted through broadcast frequencies. Other files contained discussions between studio executives and government agents about shaping emotional responses in viewers as part of an initiative called Project Echo Chamber. At first, she thought she was misreading everything. Then she saw her own name. Some tapes were labeled as Test Group Burnett Sessions. Others referenced Conditioned Audience Calibration. She told viewers that her heart stopped when she realized she had been monitored as part of a larger experiment without her knowledge. The idea that her genuine connection to audiences had been intertwined with something darker made her physically ill. But that was not the worst part. She continued, saying that at the back of the vault was a locked box containing tapes recorded in secret meetings. The voices on them were calm, calculating, and chillingly casual. They spoke about manipulating television signals to subtly steer public emotions. They mentioned how comedy programs were uniquely effective because laughter disarmed people. They referenced events that had yet to happen, making plans that extended decades into the future. One tape contained a conversation about a future operation referred to as the Signal Event, described as a mass digital disruption that would create confusion and dependency. The most disturbing detail was that the planners believed the operation would not be fully possible until the year the satellites return, a phrase Burnett admitted she did not understand until analysts began connecting it to a series of orbital cycles that align this year. She said experts verified the age and authenticity of the tapes. The voices belonged to real historical figures, some long dead, some whose families had deep ties in government and entertainment. The predictions embedded in their discussions were accurate enough to be disturbing, referencing events like market crashes, foreign conflicts, and mass communication shifts with eerie specificity. It became clear these were not random ramblings. They were methods. Burnett's hands tightened as she described the moment she received a letter slipped under her door the night after discovering the vault. The letter warned her to stop asking questions. It told her she had uncovered something that was never supposed to see light again. It advised her to burn the documents. The handwriting matched notes found in the vault. That was when she realized someone knew she had been inside. She admitted she didn't sleep for 2 nights. When she finally gathered the courage to listen to the tapes alone, she felt as though the room grew colder. On one of them, midway through a conversation between unidentified speakers, the audio crackled, and a glitch occurred. Through the distortion, she heard what sounded unmistakably like her name spoken in a whisper, even though the recording was decades old. She said she stopped breathing. Ever since listening to that tape, she had felt watched. She couldn't explain it logically. She dismissed it at first as paranoia, but shadows in her home felt wrong. Phone calls rang with silence on the other end. At one point, she saw a figure in a black coat standing across the street at night, staring at her window. When she blinked, they were gone. She didn't tell anyone at first because she feared no one would believe her. What finally pushed her to go public was the missing team. After she contacted a trusted historian and shared the coordinates found on one of the final tapes, a small investigative group traveled to a remote Cold War-era station referenced in the documents. That was 2 days ago. They have not made contact since arriving. Burnett's voice cracked again as she said she feared something happened to them because of the information she shared. She revealed that the final tape contained a warning from one of the original planners. It said that if the vault was ever discovered before the operation was complete, the corrective response will activate immediately. She said the phrase haunted her. She didn't know what corrective response meant, but after the investigative team went silent, she feared the worst. Burnett looked directly into the camera, her eyes shining with panic and resolve. She told viewers that she no longer believed the signal event was theoretical or distant. She believed it had already begun. She referenced recent unexplained network outages, strange broadcast glitches, and sudden disruptions in satellite feeds. She said experts she spoke to privately believed these were early tests. She urged journalists to secure analog equipment, saying digital communication might become unreliable. She pleaded for independent reporters, small newsrooms, and regular citizens to document everything using physical media. She warned that the plan described in the tapes aimed to seize control of digital narratives at a global scale, using confusion as its weapon. She apologized if releasing this information put anyone at risk, but she said hiding it would make her complicit. She admitted she was terrified and that she had not felt this scared in her entire life. She said she knew people might doubt her, mock her, or call her delusional. But she insisted she had nothing to gain from fabricating any of it and everything to lose by speaking the truth. Her voice softened as she said this might be the last time the world sees her. She mentioned that she had felt a presence outside the building before going live and wasn't sure how long she would be safe. She chose to broadcast anyway, hoping the truth would spread faster than any force trying to silence her. Mid-sentence, the screen flickered. The colors warped. Her voice distorted into static. She looked off camera suddenly, eyes widening as though someone had entered the room. She tried to speak again, but the audio cut out. Her lips moved silently for several seconds, and then the feed collapsed into a black screen. Within minutes, social media exploded with clips, theories, and frantic discussions. Some claimed they saw a shadow move behind her in the final second. Others insisted the broadcast was hacked or faked. Networks scrambled to determine who allowed the live interruption. Experts tried to trace the feed but found no origin point. It was as though it manifested from nowhere. Governments issued no statements. CBS denied involvement. No one could locate Burnett. Her representatives did not respond. The building where she filmed the broadcast was reportedly empty minutes after the signal cut. The lamp, the chair, even the cables she used were gone when a team arrived. There was no trace she had ever been there. People around the world began noticing new glitches in their devices. Random resets, flickering screens, subtle distortion patterns identical to the ones in Burnett's final moments. Some ignored them. Others panicked. A few recognized them from descriptions in the tapes she mentioned. They wondered if the signal event had indeed begun. And so the world is left in uncertainty. A beloved figure delivered a warning she never wanted to give, revealing secrets she never wanted to know. The vault beneath the studio remains sealed again, guarded now by unnamed officials. The missing investigative team has yet to resurface. Broadcasts feel slightly different, subtly altered, though no one can pinpoint how. And everyone, everywhere, keeps replaying those final seconds. Burnett's face tightening in fear, her mouth forming silent words, her eyes shifting towards someone or something the camera never revealed. Whether the warning came too late is a question no one has the courage to answer yet. The signal hangs in the air. The world waits. The broadcast is over. But nothing feels normal anymore. In the hours that followed, people gathered in living rooms, offices, parking lots, anywhere they could find a shared screen, as fragments of Burnett's broadcast circulated. Each upload seemed slightly degraded, as if something was interfering with the files. Some versions had audio artifacts not present in others. Some displayed frame glitches that looked almost intentional, like shapes forming in the distortion for a split second before dissolving. A small group of digital analysts pointed out that the interference mimicked patterns described in older documents connected to early signal manipulation theories. Others dismissed it as viral compression, but the timing made everyone uneasy. Satellite providers reported an unprecedented spike in synchronization errors. Weather monitoring arrays picked up strange electromagnetic pulses that did not match solar activity. A handful of amateur radio operators claimed they intercepted faint whispers beneath normal static, voices reciting sequences of numbers, then abruptly cutting off. One operator swore that he heard a voice saying Burnett's name. Another said he heard coordinates. Meanwhile, officials refused to comment. News anchors subtly avoided mentioning the event, as if instructed to ignore it. On social media, posts about Burnett began disappearing. Some users accused platforms of suppression. Others said the deletions were automated, triggered by corrupted metadata. A few uploaded screenshots showing warning messages that contained symbols they had never seen before. Patterns, sequences, echoes of something mathematical. By the second night, more people reported seeing fleeting figures outside their windows or in parking lots. Individuals standing motionless, dressed in dark clothing, facing buildings for minutes at a time. Footage was shaky, often blurred, often lost before it could be documented. Police departments claimed the reports were unrelated, yet dispatch audio leaked online suggested otherwise. In one clip, an officer quietly said he saw someone vanish behind a transformer box with no exit route. Inside the entertainment industry, panic spread quietly. Editors refused to access certain archives. Studio executives held closed-door meetings. Security was reportedly increased at CBS slots, though no public reason was given. A former producer anonymously stated that the vault had been discussed in rumors years ago as a ghost wing. No one believed it existed. Now no one wanted to go near it. Some of the world's best encryption experts examined a brief moment in Burnett's broadcast where interference formed a geometric pattern. They said it resembled a signature used in early experimental communication encoding. Something or someone might have piggybacked on her transmission. What unsettled them most was the pattern's symmetry. It looked like a confirmation signal rather than noise. Then there were the disappearances. 3 independent journalists who openly analyzed the broadcast went silent within 12 hours. One vanished from his apartment with the door locked from the inside. Another left behind a laptop wiped so thoroughly that even the boot sector was overwritten with random characters. A third sent a final text to a colleague saying only, "They're already here." As fear spread, more strange events multiplied. A series of power fluctuations hit multiple major cities. Not full outages, just brief dimming, like the grid was being tested. Traffic cameras glitched in unison across several states. Certain radio stations broadcast a tone for exactly 6 seconds at 2 a.m., then returned to normal. The tone matched the frequency range described in the Project Echo chamber tapes. Meanwhile, ordinary people reported dreams, vivid, synchronized dreams about signals, static, and distant voices calling from behind walls. Many described the same sensation of being pulled toward a source they couldn't see. Psychologists dismiss this as mass anxiety, but the pattern was too consistent, too aligned, Burnett's location remained unknown. Rumors swirled that she had been taken into protective custody. Others believed she escaped and was in hiding. A leaked email from a network insider claimed that the room she broadcast from was not part of any building lease in the area. According to city records, the structure never existed. Deep in the night, someone uploaded a video that spread faster than anything yet. It showed another fragment of Burnett's final moments that no one had seen before. As the screen glitched and her mouth moved silently, a faint shape appeared behind her, almost like a silhouette bending into view. The shape did not resemble a typical intruder. The figure seemed blurred not from motion, but from an unnatural distortion around its edges, like reality struggled to render it properly. The internet froze. Analysts examined the footage frame by frame, but every attempt to sharpen the image caused the file to corrupt. Then more glitches appeared globally. Clocks reset by a fraction of a second. Phones displayed phantom notifications from non-existent apps. Smart TVs flickered with symbols before clearing. Each event was small, but together they formed a pattern Burnett had tried to warn about. A creeping, coordinated digital infiltration invisible to the untrained eye. Scientists across multiple fields noticed anomalies in the ionosphere that did not match any natural cause. Communication satellites reported silent bursts of data originating from unknown sources, bouncing across networks at impossible angles. Some experts admitted privately that it appeared as if someone, or something, was testing the structure of global communication. Governments finally made statements, short and carefully worded. They dismissed Burnett's broadcast as a technical anomaly and insisted there was no cause for alarm. The more they reassured people, the more frightened the public became. Even the tone of their statements sounded wrong, stilted, almost synchronized, like the words were chosen not for clarity, but for control. In small online communities, people pieced together fragments of the tapes Burnett mentioned. Some claimed to have accessed mirrored files pulled from an unknown encrypted archive. The transcripts hinted at decades-long experimentation meant to normalize human dependence on digital feedback loops. One phrase appeared repeatedly: "The final calibration requires disorder." Experts who saw the leaked transcript said one detail chilled them. The planners anticipated public disbelief as part of the plan. Confusion wasn't a side effect. It was the goal. And the moment Burnett went live, the timeline accelerated. By now, people had begun experiencing brief episodes of lost time, waking up minutes later with no memory of what they were doing. Electronic devices showed activity logs that didn't match user interactions. Surveillance footage in several airports revealed passengers freezing mid-step for a second before resuming as if nothing happened. Analysts slowed the footage and noticed a distortion wave passing through the frame at the precise moment this occurred. An air of unreality settled over daily life. Conversations felt slightly delayed. Sounds sometimes echoed without a source. People reported seeing static shimmering in empty corners of rooms. Some described hearing a low hum in the distance, one that grew louder when electronic devices malfunctioned. Then came the global alert. It wasn't sent by any government or emergency system. It simply appeared on screens everywhere for 1 second. A white symbol, unfamiliar and unnerving, displayed against a field of black. The symbol matched the final pattern encoded in the tape Burnett had described but never fully decoded. Before anyone could analyze it, it vanished. The world waited for what would come next, and in the silence that followed, the feeling that Burnett's warning had been right settled across the population like a shadow. The signal event had begun, and nothing, absolutely nothing, felt under human control anymore. In the uneasy quiet that followed the symbol's flash, people began to notice that the world itself seemed to hesitate. It was subtle at first, like the collective exhale of a planet unsure whether to gasp or scream. Birds paused mid-flight for a brief, impossible moment. Traffic lights blinked out of sequence. Street lamps flickered in synchronized pulses from thousands of miles apart, as if responding to a single silent command. No official explanation surfaced. Instead, What emerged was a strange, universal intuition. Everyone felt something had shifted. The first large-scale disruption occurred just after midnight. Entire cities experienced a brief inversion of light. Streetlights glowed dim while shadows darkened unnaturally, stretching in the wrong direction. Cameras caught the phenomena, but attempts to upload the footage resulted in corrupted files. Those who witnessed it described a sense of displacement, like gravity had leaned sideways. One witness in Chicago said he heard a whisper behind him during the event, even though he was alone in his car, and the whisper seemed to say, "Calibrating." Psychologists declared these experiences stress-induced collective hallucinations. But the scientific community fractured. Some physicists admitted privately that electromagnetic readings during the light inversion did not match any known pattern produced by natural or artificial sources. The readings appeared too structured, too intelligent. One researcher leaked her findings anonymously, claiming the signal resembled an attempt to map human cognitive response in real time. As the days passed, more digital irregularities appeared. Phones turned on by themselves at night, screens glowing faintly with static before fading to black. GPS systems briefly displayed impossible coordinates, locations in the middle of oceans or long-abandoned military outposts. Smart home devices activated without being touched, playing faint tones at frequencies only a few people could hear. Those who heard them felt nauseous, dizzy, or inexplicably emotional. Even analog devices began acting strangely. A vinyl player in London, not connected to power, began spinning on its own. A centuries-old grandfather clock in Kyoto chimed at random hours, even when its mechanisms were removed. Batteryless radios emitted soft background static, and sometimes, beneath the static, faint voices whispered indistinct phrases that vanished when replayed or recorded. It was as if the signal had broken past digital boundaries and seeped into the physical world. People began reporting encounters with individuals who behaved oddly. These figures appeared in public briefly, dressed in simple dark clothing, usually standing motionless at intersections or near major communication hubs. They didn't interact, didn't speak, and when approached, they disappeared into crowds with unnatural fluidity. Security cameras captured them only as smudged silhouettes. Facial recognition software returned no matches. Some believed these figures were human operatives, part of the group Burnett had threatened by exposing the vault. Others believed something else had stepped forward. Government agencies issued contradictory statements. One branch insisted the anomalies were due to solar interference. Another blamed international cyber operations. A third denied everything outright. The contradictions deepened public distrust. Behind closed doors, leaked messages revealed officials were panicking. They were receiving internal memos with phrases like pattern adherence, phase escalation, and signal contagion, terms that aligned disturbingly with the tapes Burnett described. Then came the blackout event, not a traditional power outage. Electricity stayed on, but for 7 minutes, every screen in the world went white. Phones, televisions, billboards, laptops, even devices turned physically off, illuminated with blank, blinding brightness. People screamed, dropped their devices, covered their eyes. Hospitals reported sudden spikes in heart arrhythmias. Pilots said their instruments froze. Drivers pulled over as dashboard displays vanished. The world was bathed in a silent, white glare. When the screens returned, they displayed normal content as if nothing had happened. But many claimed they saw images in the brightness. Faces, symbols, flickering sequences of letters and numbers. Some saw Carol Burnett herself, mouth open as if shouting something. None of these impressions were consistent, yet almost all who experienced them reported a single emotional response: dread. Researchers replayed footage from devices that had recorded the event. Oddly, the recording showed nothing but whiteness, uninterrupted and uninformative. No frames, no patterns, just blank light. But one analyst discovered something hidden in the audio track, a low-frequency hum. When slowed down, the hum revealed a repeating structure, almost like coded breathing. When filtered further, faint syllables emerged. They resembled the phrase, "Do you hear us now?" Soon after, the missing investigative team Burnett mentioned became the center of global attention again. Footage surfaced from a hiker's drone near the remote Cold War site where the team disappeared. The drone captured a brief glimpse of a strange field around the abandoned station. A shimmering distortion, like heat haze, but moving against the wind. The landscape beyond the distortion looked wrong, almost stretched, as if space itself was malfunctioning. The hiker claimed his drone lost all signal when it flew closer, and the last frame before the crash showed a humanoid shape standing at the edge of the distortion, its outline fluid and rippling. A wave of panic spread. Some cities issued unofficial shelter advisories. Others quietly increased military patrols. The stock market trembled, and in the midst of this chaos, a new message appeared. Not on screens this time, but across radio frequencies worldwide. It was faint, glitchy, layered with static, but repeating unmistakably, 48 hours. No one could determine whether the message was a warning, a countdown, or something else entirely. Theories erupted. Some believed the signal event was entering its next stage. Others thought it meant humanity had 2 days before an irreversible shift. Governments refused to acknowledge the broadcast. Privately, many officials fled their posts. Across the world, people began experiencing sudden bouts of déjà vu, sometimes multiple times in an hour. Actions felt repeated, moments felt recycled. Some described hearing a second voice inside their own thoughts, not speaking words, just echoing emotions, mirroring them. Sleep became restless. Dreams intensified. Shadowy shapes appeared in the corners of rooms in the early hours of the morning, vanishing the moment lights were turned on. On day 2, the 48-hour mark approached. Tension blanketed the planet. People stayed indoors, glued to anything that might offer information. But information itself had become unreliable. Messages contradicted one another. Time seemed to stretch. Clocks drifted out of sync. News coverage looped segments that no anchor remembered filming. And then, in the final minutes before the 48 hours expired, every device in the world lit up again. This time not with white light, but with a video. The same video everywhere. It showed Carol Burnett, alive, perhaps, but altered. Her eyes were vacant, her face expressionless. Behind her, the background pulsed with that same geometric pattern from her final broadcast. Her mouth opened, and a distorted voice spoke through her, layered, harmonic, artificial, and terrifyingly calm. The calibration is complete. The world held its breath, and the signal deepened.